Hello there everyone, so Mark3 and welcome back to a bit more Factorio Space Age. Yes, where my tanks have multiplied and we are getting on some things I've never quite done before and some things that I did touch on last time and the time before that, like in my stories of my test game. So we have got things planned. Also, this is probably going to be the first one, so Happy New Year to everyone. Here's hoping it is a pleasant and prosperous one. And preferably better than last year. Yeah, Happy New Year, one and all. So, let's get on with this. I have another tank. Why do I have another tank? Because this is a rare tank. Yes, there's been more expansion has been going on. And if we go into the grid here, it's running on some portable nuclear reactors, it's got shielding, it's got all sorts of doodads in here. There's a spare tile of grid space because I just didn't bother filling it in the end, but yeah. Personal nuclear reactors are running. I also have one of those installed in my suit as well, so, you know. Last time I launched them, I didn't actually build these. This is my first time building them as well in this game. And they are quite useful. They also are kind of bulky, but they have definitely better power density than the portable solars are, I think? Question mark? Not entirely sure, but the fact that there's a constant power supply day and night is very helpful regardless. So the tank, I mentioned expansion. Yeah, I kind of went ahead and did this whole area. It was an absolute pain to get through. There are lots of bases out here. It was all naturalized and stuff. And because I didn't have full coverage, the bases kept popping up and expanding. I had to thoroughly explore it several times over, combing it just to get rid of the enemies. And I also did the mistake of tearing down my wall partway through in this area here. So fighter rays were starting to get into my main base and chewing on it and stuff like that as well. So it's just like, you know, they were doing their own thing, but eventually I managed to get it. Though I admit a tank did die during this process as well because I was in map mode doing other tasks, like I was expanding my solar network. You can see that's grown again. And someone nibbled on my tank, and then my personal armor's laser killed it. So yeah, my tank died an ignoble death. Very unfortunate, very sad, but our first vehicle casualty right there. What else? Oh, I have got this over here, which is like a set of upgraded solar panels because, you know, I'm making them, I should use them, get a bit more power out. To the point where I'm producing decent amounts of power, but as you can see, it's still diving back and forth quite a lot. So, the first big thing is the reason why there's tracks up here, and why there's a whole chunk of stuff over here. As you can see, lay plans and things. This might work, it should work. I shouldn't blow myself up, probably, but, you know, maybe not. It's my first time building a nuclear reactor after all. I've got expansion slots here for another 3. I've got the concrete laid out, that's all very important. But 6 reactors, fuel feed, just a spent fuel extraction, and then that feeds up to a very, very, very safe distance to the control systems over here, which this is where the heat exchangers are, the turbines are. I did check a basic guide for numbers and things. Like, it claims that 6 reactors, I should only need 80 exchangers for this. But it's an old guide that I saw, and Space Age did rejig some of the balancing numbers and things, so I do not know. Also, I vaguely remember hearing somewhere that, like, 2 thick is better than 1 thick for speed of heat exchange or something. I do not know. I do not know. There's unknowns in this. I'm going to be firing an unknown system for the first time, and we'll see how it goes. But I also had to kind of cut off part of my Roboport network to get that in place. I will reinstate that here so that the bots can actually get over there and start to build stuff, you know, get all that laid out. Well, I go to my first comment as well. Well, first comment, only comment. Happy Hafer, you continue to provide information and or concern, little nuggets of facts, so thank you. Let's just start. You've never used beacons before, that is very surprising. Yeah, I've never really dug into Factorio's previous late game very much. That's kind of why. Same with nuclear reactors, honestly. They are the second big thing I rush for after bots. Each beacon has 2 module slots that will transmit the module effects to all producing buildings in range, though not at normal effect potency. In the old pre-Space Age version, you got a linear increase the more beacons were in range, with each beacon effect stacked on top of each other. Yeah, that was something that I kind of avoided a little bit because, like, oh, best setup is spam lots of stuff, and then the network and stuff goes in. Oh, the bots are finally getting access to all this. There they go. Honestly, I kind of felt that was very ugly looking, and that's, I think, what put me off a bit in, like, really digging into the late game of Factorio. It's like, I didn't want that to be the best thing. I always have liked having belts more than I have using bots. So, you know, that's kind of a thing going on. Oh, they're digging out some of those trees that I scheduled for demolition up there. Okay, yeah. Let them keep on going. Where was I? In the new Space Age version, each beacon has 200% module effects transmission rate, if you remember right, but the more beacons affecting the machine, the weaker individual effects become, so with only a partial increase to overall effects. This also allows for better control and customization of effect strengths. Okay, so that is good. A few beacons will have most effect and then diminishing returns. That is honestly what I was hoping for, rather than how many of these things can you cram into range. I do like the sound of that one better already. That being said, with enough beacons you can still get to 300% productivity, which is the hard limit, good on you devs, set by devs for productivity to prevent vanilla item duplication and recycling loops. Also, something I was trying to avoid. Though recycling, I plan to go to Fulgor first, which is, I'm going to get the recycling tech, just so that we've actually got that in place. Though, argument could be said, actually no, I should actually set that firing while I think about it. Oh, I have researched it, the maps just haven't appeared because I guess I've not gone there yet. Vulcanus getting the advanced drills for better mineral efficiency on my ore patches would be another smart move. Fulgora for recycling is also a thing. Probably, I'm going to get the recycling tech first. Then I probably won't fully develop the base there. I will actually hop planets and head for Vulcanus. Then, of course, there is Gleber as well, which is due to come up there. Though, that said, Vulcanus is the safest one. I think it's like deeper in, it's got the best solar panel efficiency, stuff like that. Gleber's about our distance from the sun, slightly less, so solar power is at half, magnet fields reduced. Fulgora is the furthest out, and I think it's further out you go, the more rocks there are that your ships have to contend with and stuff like that. But I don't know that for a fact because I've not looked it up. I'm deliberately not looking stuff up in general, you know? Just because. Because why should I do that? So yeah, just let these guys keep on going. Anyway, continuing. Not all modules can be put in beacons, but it's very much worth using them, in your case, especially with green modules to save on power. I've actually been jamming those into my machines, but well, the densest areas, especially like the little assembly mall I've got going on, where a lot of my actual structures are produced, that'd be kind of hard to fit beacons into because it's already really tightly packed. I'd have to rebuild it from scratch, I think. Not the best project I want to be going on to, must admit. Oh, and there was a power cut right there. You saw the field of light just suddenly drop off massively. If we check, yeah. As soon as things start to kick down, there is a massive drop in available production, still demanding about 550 to 600 megawatts overall. Though this single reactor, if this works properly, should get me about that, so, you know, I should be okay with this reactor for now. Yeah, moving on. Probably need a lot of green modules since the increase in production will come with a huge power drain. Yeah, 60%. Oof. Well, with my current ones, I don't even have the tier 3 ones. Especially new production buildings from the other planets need lots of power even at normal use. In case you're wondering, it's generally better to use high quality modules than high quality beacons. Although both together are very powerful, high quality modules get better positive effects for the same negatives, while high quality beacons increase total effect transmission and therefore increase negative effects as well. I use beacons for labs as well. The productivity bonus can get huge. You remind me, I need to actually redesign my lab layout a little bit. My lab layout at the moment is fine until I go to the planet which produces the degradable science packs, because my current setup doesn't allow for the extraction of rotten matter. That's another reason why I want to go to Factorio first, because I can use the recyclers to get rid of that very conveniently. But that is still something that kind of needs doing. I did actually notice the quality, because in the test game I was experimenting with quality. I was doing the silly thing. I was actually building infinite recycling loops after I made it back from the other planets to try to scale up to mythical and legendary stuff. But the problem is I did this a long time before I realized it's like, hey, you need to research and unlock those, you idiot. Therefore, you've just thrown a whole bunch of resources away for no reason at all, because my setup was recycling like rare tier stuff, the blue tier stuff, trying to get above that, and it was failing. Then again, that was also the game where I installed quality modules in my mining drills, which I regretted for about half of my time in that game. But yeah, so I had actually a massive excess of green and blue tier ore, which I just flat out had to dump and get rid of anyway. So yeah, I was making way more than I could ever hope to use. So that was that. Ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's actually, I do appreciate that the two higher tiers of quality are actually locked off behind research, and you have to hit the solid mid game, or what I refer to as mid game, to actually get them. But it's just like, you know, I would have hoped I'd realised that a bit sooner, but that's one of the reasons why I left that game and started this one. So, you know. And oh, then another comment here. Have you looked at the tier 3 modules yet? They have changed recipes, and one kind will have a very interesting / troublesome ingredient. Look it up. Evil Grin. Evil Grin. Should I be concerned? Probably. Okay, modules. One of them has a troublesome ingredient, you say. Speed module. Tungsten carbide. That is from Volcanus. That is not troublesome, really. Efficiency module requires spoilage. Ooh, okay, so I don't want to be throwing that away into recycling. In fact, going to the... from the screenshots, I'm thinking it's a jungle planet. I don't know, I've not really seen any videos on it, so yeah. Going to the jungle planet, the degrading planet, will produce spoilage, and then spoilage that can be funneled into producing the efficiency modules. Why does rotten plant matter or meat or just rotten biomass, why is that required for an efficiency module? Organic circuitry, I guess? I don't know. That might be the troublesome ingredient. Productivity biter eggs. I know the jungle planet requires something about taming biter nests or something. I mean, it's right there in the tech tree. Captivity and egg handling was like... That's also potentially a troublesome one? Okay. And does this one have something even worse? Superconductor. Not troublesome. That one is on Fulgura. I'm struggling to identify which ingredient is actually the troublesome one, because tungsten carbide, that's basic material from Volcanus. spoilage, I think I'll get that as a natural byproduct as I go around, just as soon as I get access to agricultural science packs. Just in general, though I might get more just flat out from being on that planet. I probably will actually. Maybe I should set that up for transfer. Biter eggs, I think that's a byproduct, but do biter eggs have some kind of special effect on them? I don't want them hatching into biters. That might be what you mean by troublesome. So that might be why you're giving the evil grin. Because that sounds like it might be an issue. And then superconductor, it's complex to make, but it's not troublesome beyond getting the factory line assembled. So, yeah. Anyway, let my bots keep on going. Hey, stop slacking off. You've got a nuclear reactor to put together so we can test it and make sure it doesn't explode. Okay? Okay. Right. Slackers. Every last one of them. Right. Moving on though. There is one last part of the comment which is quite relevant to this, which is why I'm reading through again and making sure I'm getting what I can from it. Nuclear reactors get a big neighborhood bonus in their heat production for every adjacent reactor, so you should build a 2x2 or 2x3 setup for maximum output. Diagonals don't count. And that's the little testing. I figured that part out before I saw your comments actually. So yeah. They also heat pass through, so you only need one heat pipe for the entire reactor. About one heat pipe. So my double might be overkill. Redundancy, I suppose. Though still advised for more. Oh, okay. So not me being insane. It is more useful to have. Okay. Heat pipes lead to heat exchangers. Work like boilers, produce high temperature steam. You need steam turbines to properly use the steam. You will need a lot of heat exchangers and even more turbines, so make sure you calculate the ratios right. This is where those old numbers might come back to bite me a little bit. Those reactors with neighbour bonuses will probably output way more heat than you can convert to power, so prepare to store a lot of steam. Since reactors will not throttle their fuel consumption, I advise build setup to limit their fuel supply access. I have done. I will actually cover that in a second. For example, by reading the steam storage and connecting to the inserters, limiting them to only work if steam is below 75% and setting their stack size to 1, or even better, by adding request suggests with a fuel cell request for 1 in the setup, or alternatively by reading reactor temperature and only inserting it drops below a certain number. Not really an issue with uranium processing facility size. Yeah, that is actually turning away quite happily. But I always build those fuel limiters. By now I have it. Yeah, I already planned by default. Oh yeah, that's not looking too bad with the concrete pattern that's gone in there. I'm actually quite happy with how the concrete pattern's been laid out. As soon as I read insert request suggest, it's like I knew I wasn't going to do that, just because I try to avoid using the logistic box overly much or just relying on them, because I prefer to use. There goes the power again, because I prefer to use belts and inserters over the bots, just because I think they look better. Yeah, it adds a massive amount of bulk to my facilities, but what can you do? So anyway, speaking of, let's actually check on the facility down here just fine. Oh yeah, backed up massively on this. I don't think I mentioned, by the way, but I was actually limiting the inserters on these. So this reads if there is enough inside it to start the next cycle. If there is enough inside it, then the inserter turns off, so it's not been pulling extra into here, but it's like it's jammed up right now because it's all good. I will flip you and allow these to... Oh wait, no, I had them turned off as a energy saving measure. Never mind, leave them off. Not that it matters, I actually have a lot of these. I've also got quality modules in these assemblers making fuel rods, just because I wanted to get those for the better tier of personal portable reactors. Though right now I've not had any blue come through yet, mainly because I'm not really using these much. Anyway, let's move on. What are you doing? You're complaining about storage. Why are you complaining about storage? You are... Oh, this one is actually not connected. Yeah, pull you back. Run. Stop them waiting and they can just go and actually do stuff. Oh, I also jigged the bot production, by the way, with a requester. So anytime I demolish a robot and there's bots in it, I notice most of them actually get taken off and dumped into my storage. So this just pulls spare bots. You saw nothing. I didn't make a very basic mistake. I swear. I do keep making basic mistakes. Anyway. That's done. That's all working. I'm going to head over to a sharp turn. Yeah, let's go and actually get this reactor firing, shall we? I'm going to hand feed it first because I want it to... I don't want to hook up the direct belts just yet. I'll hook up the direct belts once we actually make sure it doesn't blow itself to pieces. Because that sounds like a good idea. But, okay. We're over here, so I'll do the thing. So, probably notice this has got a setup on the circle belt here, which is reading the entire belt for its contents. I noticed that doesn't seem to include tunnels. Oh, no, it does. I can see it right between them. Okay, yeah, right, the entire thing. So, this is grabbing fuel cells, I should say, one at a time with an override stack size. It grabs only one. Then, if there's one on the circular belt, it stops. This then stacks one into the storage chest, and that is keeping one ready to go, which then allows these to go, because each of these reactors is being checked by a combinator deciding reactor temperature has to be below 550, so just above the threshold where it will be operating the exchangers. It has to not be burning or have in stock a uranium fuel cell. So if there's no fuel in it and it's not actively burning some fuel at the moment, then it will load a new one. So it will not work while it's still generating more heat and while the heat is increasing. Third, very low setting of 5,000 on steam count. Much lower than Hafer actually suggested. I wasn't sure how much I wanted to stash, because remember, first time. IMARC V baby, first nuclear reactor, please no break. But if I move up here, massive steam storage tanks. There's a ton of spare steam capacity right here for any excess heat getting dumped. I was a bit unsure about the size of the pump lines, but they seem to be absolutely fine right now. I mean, this is like 80 heat exchangers here, and that is what, like 400, about 520 per second water, and this is 1,200, so it's like, yeah. This is why I'm not convinced about the guide I saw, because the numbers seem to be way off. But yeah, this is then feeding into the banks of steam turbines up here, and this is just the power source. It is all set up. Of course, the concrete is very important, you know. Gotta make sure that's all laid in properly. And that's it. This is my reactor setup, for better or worse. And so, let us go ahead and set things up. Okay, I accidentally dumped in, and it did not do a thing. Now, these ones are 300% efficient. These guys are 200% efficient, so this is ticking upwards quite steadily. There seems to be a time lag on the heat transfer. Oh, this might be a problem then. I might need to set things higher, or I flat out I was massively overcautious on how long this is, because this is like taking its time to tick up. This will take its time to tick up. I can probably leave this alone then. Though that said, the percentage, though, is the issue. The only other bit of testing I did was like jamming a single fuel cell into a reactor and seeing how high the temperature got. I think, yeah, the bigger the heat difference, the faster the temperature transfer is going. And mine blew up. But I think we're okay. That said, though, we are currently... I'm going to drop a save. I am getting nervous. Yeah, let's... Playtime, 107 hours, you know. That temperature is climbing. I am backing off. I am nervous. I dropped a save there so I can back it up and just yank the reactors if there is a problem. But I feel like I might have done myself in a little bit with the rate of temperature exchange. 750, climbing. I think it's actually the massive... the bonus multiplier might be my thing. I might be about to have a nuclear meltdown. That said, how are these doing? These are... Oh, the temperature's not even getting anywhere. This is way too long. Oh, no. I was too cautious. And because of that, my thing is about to go kablooey. And I'm watching it just so that we can actually see that happen. Yeah. Okay. How bad is this going to be? Oh, the last little bit. Oh, the last little bit. Within 0.5. Within 0.5 of a detonation. Ouch. That is not good. Because remember, from this point on, the reactors are going to be kicking in with 500 degrees already in. So, what's that going to do to the setup? We're going to have a detonation, I'm fairly sure. So that's an idea. Or maybe it's more that we need to heat up. Well, the other thing is, the way they've set this reactor up is it's set up for simultaneous loading. So each of these, at the moment it gets the all clear on one of these reactors, it triggers. And all of them load. I think I should probably separate that. Well, up here, these haven't even started heating yet. This is much too far away. Anyway, let that cook for a little bit. I do have something else to show real quickly, which is... I have more things in orbit. I have a Wayfarer and I have an in-system hauler. So two little thingies. Let's go up here. This is Wayfarer. I mentioned Pathfinder last episode, and this is the other name, which is kind of interchangeable, Wayfarer. I think I might as well just tell you the context of it. So, if it's experimental or stuff I'm not exactly sure of, I'm very much feeling my way with it, and I not really confident what I'm doing, then it tends to be a Pathfinder, because that is like, you know, you're finding the path, you're going forward, you're forging the way. It's like you're working out what you're doing. So that is what the Pathfinder role is. Then the Wayfarer is more of an exploration type, like it's advanced, it does things a way I want. I'm confident in what it's doing, but it might be a little bit kooky, a little bit experimental still. But it's also like the scouting role that it's finding itself into. The origin of this, though, is I mentioned it was from Space Empires 5. I would build things to I could collapse the wormholes between systems, and then get wormhole blockers in my systems as well. And I'd actually develop a space scout ship with super miniaturization, with wormhole creators, wormhole collapsers, and repair work, so they could actually fire everything within a turn. And also had enough onboard manufacturing to produce like a stealth satellite, which could cover an entire system. And these guys were highly experimental, and they were Pathfinders, because super advanced bleeding edge tech. I'd shut down the wormhole, well, I'd actually sell the wormhole protection system on my claimed territory. This thing could open a wormhole, jump out into a neighboring system, it would be fully cloaked and stealthed, then it would collapse the wormhole behind it, and then it would go off and do its own. So it's super advanced bleeding edge tech kind of thing. And then Wayfarer kind of became the thing after that. As I said, it's like it's something I'm comfortable doing, and it should work, but it might not still. There's still a few other things. So this is the Wayfarer, and then there's some blur between the two, but those are the two roles and the two names. This one, there is something slightly odd with it, which is it's my first attempt with a full-blown manufactory being installed. It's only an iron-based manufactory, but it makes red tier belts, it makes pipes, it makes pumps and engine blocks, which are actually primed for storage. It also produces steel and storage tanks, because this is like there are need for fluid systems on Vulcanus and Fulgora, so it's like, you know, give my orbiting system that capacity. And then the more untested part of this is it's all rigged up to the central storage, which is actually it's all packed and ready to go. But it throttles its intake of ammunition stacks for the guns, iron ore, plates, steel, all of that. It's all being throttled by a logistics network, and that is doing some control on all of that. There was a pump down here. I was trying to install a pump on this, but this is all actually throttled by how many refineries I've got installed. So that this is like this will operate at a decent efficiency once it burns through its excess fuel. So, you know, nothing special there. Though the shape is also kind of odd. It's like fairly organic how this has turned out if you have a look-see. With the exception of this big block of solar power. So when I get nuclear reactors on these ships, that should be interesting. In-system hauler I built after I built the Wayfarer. This is, I think, a bit of a dead end in terms of my experiment. It's like, I wanted this thing to be faster. I wanted this thing to be able to go more rapidly between planets in the system. It's got some logistics network throttling on its production for ammunition and things, so it's got centralized storage pulled over from the Wayfarer model. But it's honestly, I think it's too bulky for what I want it to be. It's got extra space in this storage here, while the prototype haulers in the other game basically bared this down for a minimum, saved a bunch of space and weight. And honestly, this thing is like, it has a lot of extra refinery and plumbing just to run the engines. When you notice up here, there's also engines up here as well in the wings, and this was made a kind of a hammerhead style design, which again I don't really like, because it's made the craft wider, therefore it requires more ammunition to defend itself during its run, which I think is a slight issue. These two craft also, by the way, the first time I've actually got modules installed on for efficiency. This one's like pure efficiency. Wayfarer is efficiency and speed. But the previous game I didn't know how to install those. So yeah, these ships are the first ships carrying these modules as well. Okay, well, this is also interesting, but it's also my first time using a mixed belt just to extract the materials for the refineries. The Wayfarer actually has individual belts, like there's an individual iron ore belt here, there's an individual carbon supply coming through here, and stuff like that, with a small stash of reserve in central cargo. The Wayfarer one's internal storage is actually somewhat limited. I kind of wish I had more cargo space in it, because I've jammed it full of everything I might need for starting a new colony. Modules of every type, furnaces, assemblers. The only thing it doesn't really have is power source, which might be a slight issue, actually. Ooh, that might be a slight issue, actually. Maybe too much. I'd rather have a source of power than I'd have an extra stack of those. You know, I'll get rid of one of these as well. Because I don't think I have batteries in here. Yeah, give me a stack of solar and a stack of batteries, please. And thank you. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. How are you guys doing? You guys are almost to the point where you want to load. Okay, good. So we're almost at the point where we might see an explosion. The temperature, though, is not transmitted very well at all. So that, yeah, this is definitely not the way you're meant to do it. I will drop a new save. And then, because I want to test and make sure, I will wander over and I will feed it some more fuel. Hang on a second. Okay, the reactors are rapidly getting into danger territory. If we're going to see an explosion, it's probably going to be soon. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I built them far away for safety, but I feel like just having just tiling them next to each other would probably be the best idea. Last few degrees, yeah, it's very slow. I think that's like maybe a deliberate safety valve, but the central reactors are about to lose it, I think. No? That last little bit seems to be very, very, very sticky. Like the reactor's frantically dumping everything it can. Does that mean it's also wasting fuel when it gets this hot? Probably. Not exactly concerned about fuel, but up here it's still a very balmy, like 100 odd degrees. It's not even close. This setup's not working at all. 999. Come on. 1000. If you're gonna let go, it's gonna be soon. No? Are you not letting go? Are you just not working properly? Is that what's going on? Huh. I thought for sure I was going to see an explosion, but these guys have maxed out their temperature gauges, but they've stopped building temperature. Unless there's a thing after there's actually a ceiling after this where it's like it's building up heat, but you're past red line. Oh no! As soon as it ran out of heat, as soon as it ran out of fuel, the temperature immediately started dropping. So what causes an overload then? That's my question. Though I am going to rebuild all of this. I'm going to move it all. It's too far away. It's flat out too far away. I mean, look, these guys haven't produced any steam yet. They're only at like 120 odd degrees. And they're very slowly taking up. This is not going to work at all. Yeah, I need to break this down and redo it. But we also need to go exploring, so yeah, let's do that, because we haven't actually had a time skip, really, in this episode. So that's the thing, that must happen. We must have a time skip. This isn't an episode without a real time skip of hours or days or... Actually, no, I find that kind of frustrating when I have a time skip that long, but, you know. We must do the other thing we set out to do, though. We must go out and explore. I'm finding all the rocks and trees with this car today. I've made a couple of trips out to that general area while I was working on the general blueprint for the nuclear plants, which is currently not working properly. And I didn't crash once, and then the moment I'm on camera, I keep finding all the things. Weird, huh? Anyway, I want to be holding none of this. I will put the book up there in storage, so I've got that already. I did build a couple of second tier nuclear reactors, as you can see here, and I was putting them down to figure out like adjacency bonuses and things. So that's, I said I'd worked out the diagonal, didn't work, and that's because I was mucking around just like planting them, not even hooking up any, just planting them, jamming a fuel rod in, and then seeing do they get a bonus, do they not get a bonus, and that's like, yeah, that's about as far as my, sorry, that was my super secret testing technique. Do not steal. It is far, far too scientific. Yeah, it will, it's who am I kidding? I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need that extra power cell. Let's just jam it all away. Yeah, this is reloading my tank, reloading my belts, reloading this, getting the parts together for a portable reactor, parts for a tier 2 regular reactor. All this doesn't matter because it is time to head for space. Yeah. Novice, I am going somewhere else. I will be back in considerably less than 9 hours, most likely. Because the situation is vastly different. Oh, I've been upgrading. I've got about half my belts up to blue tier, by the way. It's basically just the left side of the base is blue tier. This is down red tier. This is red tier. The quadrant making buildings and things is blue tier. Anyway, let us go. I pressed enter. I should not have done. Oh, I'm carrying ammo, of course. Thank you, boys. Okay. I've not launched into space for quite some time, actually. Not since yeah, not since gosh. I think maybe about 115 to 120 hours in playtime in Factorio since I last launched into space. Because that's the whole time I've been on this save. Yeah, as we just drop in, there we go. The whole time I've been on this save, along with sometime after I last made it back to the original planet, like, actually no, I think in the other time I'm actually on Volcanus. I was trying to get that stuff working before it's like I got fed up and it's like, you know, I want to do it again. But yeah, I've not been in space for 115, 120 odd hours, something like that, in terms of Factorio playtime. So we're back in the dark again. We're back in the black. Okay, where do we want to go? I said Factorio to get access to science tech. So let us do that, and let us see if this craft actually works properly. Yeah, this craft is not. Yeah. I hope this craft works properly. Fulgoria, here we go. If it can survive the trip to Fulgoria, it can survive a trip to the others too as well, because Fulgoria is the, as I said earlier, I think the more dangerous place to be. There we go. Burning the fuel, we are rolling. this craft is deliberately asymmetrical, but I did plan for it to be more obvious divot between the two forward sections. But then it's like I got paranoid with power redundancy. I jammed a whole bunch more solar panels in than I was expecting because of the manufacturing. The rest of it was all grown organically. Then I put the manufacturer in. Then I panicked and jammed in solar panels around it. And so yeah, that's why there's a big clump up here, while the rest is like scattered throughout. Kind of a different feel. I should also note, by the way, both of these craft are built with the base level components. I am actually manufacturing uncommon green tier ones for the space parts, like the grabbers and the engines and stuff. So those are available back on Novice, actually. But another thing I'm hoping to get from Fulgoria is actually the... oh yeah, that's running it now at a very efficient level. I'm hoping to get more materials, because I think I'm going to actually go ahead and jam quality modules into the recycling systems when we get to Fulgoria. Just because, well, yes, it will mean that I'm getting things like quality concrete and stuff, but getting access to recycling systems means I've got a way to get rid of excess materials which could jam the entire system up if I need to. But yeah, this is all working pretty well. You can see I've got some central belt, ammo feed around the outside. I mentioned it was going double duty, so it's getting all the ore over here, then it's getting jettisoned down to the space where we need to. I did actually rejig this slightly to have only one last time I was looking at this craft, but I think having two is the way, because one just isn't siphoning things off the belt. Actually no, it's not doing too badly. It is jammed up in terms of like how much. Oh yeah, now this is jammed for me. Yeah, one per type is what we need. I forget where I had the other thing though. There we go. Yeah, that means there's a hole in my defences, but what can you do? What can you do? Anyway, we made it. We are here. We are at Fulgoria. Craft is none the worse for wear. The manufactory is operating because it requires it's replenishing its ammo supply. The ammo supply, by the way, runs a lot faster than the metal plate production does, because these guys, yeah, only 0.62. They're rigged for efficiency, not speed. And ammo production, one of these is 6. So I'd need like 20 smelters to keep up with 2 of these. So that's not going to happen, honestly. Not on my budgets. But I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9 smelters feeding. But that's also part of why I maintain a reserve of like iron in the thing. Anyway, enough. We have arrived at Fulgoria. Ha! The map is black because we've not actually been down there yet. Oh, this is Novice. Why am I over here? No. Let us go ahead and let us launch. Oh, there it is. I was looking for the thing in there. You can tell it's been a bit. Drop. I don't know why it gives me the options here, but it's like, unless it's like I tell it to drop a different planet, it will actually tell the ship to go there and then drop me. But no, drop on Fulgoria, please. Off we go to this familiar hellhole. In the testing game, I revisited this planet a total of once because the recycling system wasn't working properly. Hi. Of all the places to land, I landed behind that. Of course. Okay, where am I? So, welcome to Fulgoria. It is a planet of, well, lightning and polluted seas. I mean, look at that. You can see the reflection of the rainbow oil and stuff in it. But it's also a planet of ruins. there was a civilization here at some point, but it's all dead, it's all gone. Oh, and I've got very lucky actually. Before I had to go looking for one. To get access to the recycling tech, we need to actually salvage a Fulgurian vault. But we're actually right next to one. That said though, the actual resource here is... Oh, there's a storm coming in, and I am in a vulnerable position. Hence the thing. I do have much better energy shields this time around than I did last time. But the actual resource here is scrap. Oh yeah, lightning. I'm just standing here because I'm basically baiting the hit. I do have my energy shield up after all. But yeah, scrap. This scrap is broken down in recyclers. I think I need to mine a little bit of it. Right. Get recyclers. I just need to get out the vault ruin. Okay. So this is scrap. As you salvage ruins, you get lots of stuff in here, and then the recyclers can break it down. Now let's go ahead and scavenge this thing. That's fine. I mean, it's not the case of these ruins looking really nice, and it's a shame you need to move them, honestly. But that's not too bad either. But these ones, unlike our base ruins, these ones actually persist until you get rid of them because they are resource things. So you can actually mine them. The mining nodes. But anyway. We have researched recyclers. We can build a recycler when we got the parts for it. And we can go ahead and get scrap recycling, which, as you can see here, it produces a litany of parts, processing, advanced circuits, low density structures, solid fuel, steel, concrete, battery, all sorts of stuff. Which honestly is kind of why I'm a little bit unsure if my decision to put quality modules into the recyclers is a good idea, because there's a bunch of stuff here that isn't affected by quality, but it will gum up your production systems, like quality stone, quality ore. If you don't have things set up to use those, then what are you going to do, honestly? And the fact is, quality stone, that basically has no effect on anything, as far as I'm aware, so, you know, what can you do with it? Throw it into a recycler and delete it, that's what. Anyway, I should probably actually go ahead and call in an orbital bombardment, I suppose. Because this is my landing zone until I set up something else. Actually, the safe thing would probably be to call in the cargo station, which I have here in the actual thing specifically for this purpose. So go ahead and drop that. Does it need power though? It might. Let's drop the power systems as well. Need those, need those, need those. You know what? Because I am. Why not? So yeah. Okay. And notice, by the way, I'm staying well clear. But without a landing field, they just drop the spawn point. But it's just I'm moving away from the spawn points, and the fact that, of course, I mentioned before, these things are dangerous. So you don't want to actually be underneath these things when they come down. I plan to move and get that cargo port set up. I didn't launch with a cargo port in the other game. I wound up building one after I hit myself on the head with one of these landing pods. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get moving. Yeah, Fulguria is a very desolate world. The threat is the weather. You can tell something happened here, but the problem is we don't know what and what exactly led to this. Though thing is, massive lightning storms rack the planet. Solar doesn't really work very well. But the ancient civilization was dealing with as well, the fact that the lightning attractors are all over the place to actually go ahead and stop that from happening, to protect their structures. The oceans, I'm literally wading through heavy oil at the moment. The oceans are literally just like a massive, massive, fetid, stagnant pool of heavy oil. So where did this oil come from? What happened? We don't know. We don't know because there's not enough of the old systems left, but the fact that we break down the old systems and we get like circuits and lightweight things and batteries, things we recognize, along with minerals that we don't recognize, which means there's stuff in there that we don't know about. It means that this old race was actually pretty advanced as well. I mean, they've got some old structural things. I mean, look at this. But it's an archipelago, honestly, of random things. And, well, what I realized in my old game and why I'm wandering around just exploring a little bit, there are actually some different kinds of islands out here which affect where I want to really go to set my base up. Yeah, I'm wandering around the deeper pools here. I can actually wade out into these, but I get a lot slower while I'm at it. So, I mentioned there are island types. Yes, indeed there are. I'm just here to get some more of my founding supplies. Because I'm going to tell Wayfarer to actually go back home. Or actually, no. Maybe I should use the in-system hauler for this trip. Give that one a test drive. Yeah, I think I will do that actually. In-system hauler, would you please? In-system hauler, you seem to have done a. You don't seem to be configured correctly. Why are you? Enable stable when ammo feed is that, yes. Enable stable when that is less, yes. Where the heck have you got all this iron from? I don't see where at all, because all iron feeds block as soon as it reaches that limit. Now the problem is I can't actually really. This one blocks as soon as the ammo feeds, so that cuts off these ones all automatically. But it's like, how did you get this much iron in you? Well, the only answer is we're going to have to dump it. Oh, I see. That's where all the irons come from. This one. Okay, so this one I was experimenting using belts, but apparently because of the complex Tetris, I missed an inserter, which was just funneling. Shows you how long I've spent like working things out as well. The fact that this guy's just been sitting there, filling itself up with iron for so long. Well, that was a bit of a silly mistake, wasn't it? I mentioned 3 types of islands. Yes? Well, the fact I'm not installing radars and things is actually slowing me down a little bit. Before I went out and set out scouting outposts to map the surrounding islands and things, so I didn't have to wander out by hand, but on foot to find stuff. Honestly, that was probably a better idea. I just had a small starting base, then I got that all set up, and I just wandered off, honestly. Anyway, yeah, 3 islands. The first, most basic, and the one we started on is basically just a barren lump of rock. Nothing there, really. Nothing else to do. So that's that one over there. The second is the type where we landed, so where we first went to, that we have to start right next to, where we found that vault ruin, and we went in and immediately got the tech. That is actually the rarest type of island, I think. As in, it took me a while the first time to find the vault, and this time around I just landed next to one. So, you know, luck of the draw, I guess. But the second one, you do want those because they have the vaults on, but they have very tasty amounts of deposits, like lots and lots and lots of scrap on them. The thing of it is, though, they are small. Very small. There's not much you can do with them. To the point where, you know, that's almost... there's barely room to really set down extraction systems and things. But the amount of resource you can get from them is staggering. I feel like that might be like, kind of like a last stand kind of situation, you know? The reason the vaults are there is because they were built to try and weather the storm, to try and outlast the environmental collapse, I think is what happened, of this planet. They didn't work, obviously, but well, the fact that they were there, and the resource concentration, there's another one that's just popped up right next to us, as you can see. Another vault as well. So the vaults are meant to try and keep something safe inside. Might be resources, might be information, but in some settings also things like cryopods or life support facilities, or just a vault can also be the name for a very tough self-sealed environment, a la Fallout series, where you're trying to preserve something inside from outside interference. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about that regarding the environmental collapse of this world. Third thing is the ones we're wandering around now, as you can probably tell, like they range from a smallest size to really big ones. They've got cliffs and things in them more often than not. The resource deposits tend to be on the lower sides, like you'd say like 100,000, 400,000. I say lower sides. Yeah, I know. Not exactly immediately indicative, is it? But you actually chew through that real quick when you are refining and breaking things down to other resources. That can be drained really quickly, even with the green tier drills that I've got access to at the moment, which is part of the reason why I was thinking of like hopping to this world, getting the recycler tech, getting some recyclers, and then hopping to Volcanus so we can get access to the big drills, because it will preserve things on Norvis, yes, but it will especially preserve things here on Fulgora. Because we do want the deposits to be operating as efficiently as possible, and actually I'm tempted to set up beacon manufacturing just for that goal, based on Happy April's comment earlier. Because, you know, I want to preserve this scrap. The scrap actually, despite the amount of resources, it burns out real quick. But I'm also looking for a decent sized island to have a solid factory size on. That actually looks okay, that one there. The one I've just been on. It's big, it's got lots of empty space, it doesn't have cliffs getting in the way. It is, however, devoid of resources. But that's kind of why I wanted my insistent hauler to do something. Have you actually stocked up? No, you're still stocking. So it's bringing in train engines, some things, but it's also going to bring in elevated track. Elevated track can go over the more shallow areas of the oceans here. It can't go in the deep stuff, not without foundations, which is unlocked somewhere else. I think Volcanus, but I'm not entirely sure. But it will mean I can actually set up rail networks between the islands here. Okay, you have finished loading. Right. You, my friend, you are going to Fulgora. You have 450 magazines in reserve and 470 iron plates. Much better than an entire inventory full of iron plates. I added a siphon, by the way, down on Novice, so that is now being fed into the end of my smeltery stacks, so that any iron requirements, they will be drawing from that, so it won't be jammed in my storage system as well. So yeah, rails, elevated rails, trains, train wagons, a couple of food wagons just in case, but you know, not expecting to use that much honestly because of the nature of the place. But yeah, Fulgora. Come to Fulgora, please. Billows, smoke, hammer design. I mean, this design was also experimenting, as I mentioned, like jamming these other engines into the sides of it, just to get more performance with relatively little added to the weight. Though, as I said, I think the trade-off is going to be ammo expenditure for the trip, because you need to protect that extra space. And either that or I just don't have guns really covering too much of it. But there is a lot of redundant guns towards the front as well. Plus, the fact it's covering part of its rear with its own exhaust is kind of interesting to me as well. It's like, you know, it's doing its own thing. Again, the engine's bouncing out about the same, but this craft is currently still accelerating. 175 or so. Not massive, honestly. Once it got past its initial fuel reserve at 170 odds. The thing is, this thing does have more engines. Like, there's 4 on the Wayfarer 1 to the 10 on this guy. But the weight is almost the same. So, of course, this thing has better speed. But you've got to fuel that speed. Not that fuel seems to be much of a problem right now, except for the fact that the seems to be backing up a little bit on the asteroid intake. That's okay. Those two are going as fast as they can. We'll probably do the third one. Sorry. Could probably do the third one though. Just to try and pick that up a little bit. That's not too bad though. We have made it. We shot through all of our reserved, well, almost all of our reserved ammunition, and most of our reserved iron. So, more or less, this thing has enough supplies on hand for a single trip. Worth noting. So this guy's set up. It wants to wait until its internal ammunition count clocks past 400 iron and 400 ammo, and then it'll decide to go. But it is replenishing itself fairly quickly, actually. The exterior belt is absolutely fine. That has not been tapped into. The previous Pathfinders, they depleted the external ammo belts because they just weren't really manufacturing enough at all, and they were shooting through it way too quickly. I'm hearing beeping. I think that's something in the automation or something. Yeah, I think it might be coming from the logistics network, that beeping. But yeah, this guy made the trip though, no problem. Excellent. We've also got this new island. One thing I did notice in my test game, Fulgora, requires a lot in by way of, well, space, honestly, to run the recycling systems. But that said, I did manage to get some hominum ore out of my handcrafting recycling, so that is going okay. That means I can actually use that. But systems to manufacture were kind of big. I wonder if maybe I was miscounting things in the test game. I wouldn't be surprised if I was. Oh, so this narrow neck here. And then we actually got some ruins on this island as well, so we wouldn't have to go off the thing. Something worth keeping in mind, by the way, is... well, bots in the logistics network, if they wander off the island, they will get swatted by lightning, so that is a thing. So, having a train doing a supply run to bring essential base parts to different areas, and then giving bots in those areas to just run a local logistics network rather than a global one would probably be a lot safer, and it would spare a lot of bots from getting blown up. Oh, there's lots of ruins on this one, actually. I think we've found my base island for this planet. Yeah. Got 300,000 there, 200,000 there, 400,000 over there. A big rectangular area as well, which is usually I've actually noticed the previous inhabitants actually did go into for terraforming a fair bit, somewhat regularly there are these cliff-edged areas which are actually quite rectangular. Like here's another bit over here you can see. Almost like there's been some terraforming to get this rise the edge up against the ocean of oil. But yeah, resources, ton of space. I think this is my home island. Something to note, by the way. I'll just bot getting killed. That randomly happens on Norris because of the wall layout over there. Power generation in this world actually comes from the lightning strikes. Solar does work here, but only barely. The cloud cover is too thick, so you're actually reliant on the lightning to do it. And you do that by building your own version of the lightning attractors. And they actually generate an area effect around them, as you can see, where lightning, instead of hitting things in that bubble, actually gets called into... Yeah, get called into the attractor, and then that is used to charge batteries, and then that is your primary power source. Unless you want to go with like something more concentrated like nuclear, but a big island like this is quite reliable for generating a lot of power when and where you need to. Yeah, again, rectangular edges, which have a... yeah, you can see here, there's actual tiled tops of things. This bit's collapsed, then it's over here. Looking close at the new terrain tiles, they are very well detailed. I do like what they've done shaping all this stuff. Like this you can see is like a more natural edge on this part here, while raised up. Definitely been worked. Shows the action of sentient hands. While this one over here is a natural cliff edge, as you can see. There's also some refined bits on the corners. So yeah, they mix things to and fro. But yeah, this is going to be my home. Huzzah! Now I just need to clear all the ruins out, which will take a while, actually. That's something I maybe should have brought over. Personal roboports. But then again, I was not actually willing to wait for the blue electric engines to make a blue Mark II power armor. Because, you know, it's like, I was barely getting any. And while the storm's here, cloud cover gets thicker, it gets darker, and so my solar is actually cut off. But, yeah, that's kind of the reason why I also brought... I also brought things along like the efficiency modules, just so that I could actually run more power-intensive systems a bit more easily, you know? Might as well let that work. Because this only requires 36 megawatts with 2 of those circuits in it. What it's doing, though, is getting stone bricks. Why? Because I need stone bricks to produce the lightning rods, which is over here. You don't actually get stone bricks, really, from your recycling efforts. At least I don't think you can. No, you can't. Just handcraft all 500 of that. It's real quick, you can see there. It cycles fast, but it's just adding random resources to my inventory. So you got lots of random stuff in this on this world. Not gonna lie, I do miss the bots though. My test game, I landed here with a personal roboport and like 20 bots, and they were a big help in getting the ruins cleared out. Actually, can I just craft one? Have I even researched it? No, I haven't. Huh. Whoops. I guess I was consciously avoiding it. Oh, there you go, that's better. Just because I can use deconstruction tool and drag it to get access to everything. Though the problem is, you can see there's a storm warning coming in, so it's like, watch out. bot's going to be vulnerable. I've only got the 50 bots. I can't make more at the moment on this world. So the question is, how do I want to handle the logistics network? I think localizing them so that they don't wander too far is probably going to be the better option, and then use trains to go between them. Though I kind of want to develop this land down here, but the fact of the shape of it and so much exposed area where the bots will just die kind of makes me want to not do that quite so much. Oh well, they'll do their thing. Yeah, look at that. There's some massive things. That's one of the drawbacks. Also, don't know why, but when you salvage stuff, you actually get iron sticks, but you don't get that through recycling. So that's one slightly odd thing I'm not entirely sure about. But yeah, salvaging ruins, you get iron sticks. But normal salvaging doesn't produce iron sticks, so you don't have to set your recycle to cope with them. It's just a little bit strange, you know? I figured the grid just to show you, it's like, starting to lay this in my own grid. But as you can see, it's like kind of odd. It's very sticky how lightning rod coverage works. But you can actually spread them out quite a lot if you've got like this outer ring. Which you want to, because you want to extend the coverage outside the ocean as best you can. As well, just to get a bit more lightning soaking in. But then I can cover this entire section here if I just build a rod like there. You see? So normally I'd have one down here if I was just building this out, but I've got the ring around, and then that just lets me build it like in a random spot just around here, and that gives me all the coverage I need. So it's a slightly odd system getting all this worked out, and also worth noting is because of that stickiness, having them stretching inside can require multiple big power poles to get the connection across for electricity. But yeah, also, I'm not sure. I had the impression in general previously that increasing the number of batteries magnified how much power each bolt was getting, but I think that was completely wrong in my testing game. Because these things, when they're hit, they generate 500 megajoules of power. So, megajoules. If we go to Novice, that is a lot. That's on the scale of like my entire base requirement. So, lightning bolts are kind of infrequent, but they generate a ton of power. That said, though, we are over here now, so we might as well do this. You are set up with a steam intake. I think you're all configured correctly because I did make sure to duplicate everything I was editing on the first try. I think we're good to start this one. All we need is the fuel intake. Just going to be just along here. And in fact, that could do with being reversed, honestly. That's okay. That's okay, that's okay. Just have to accept it as it is. Still though, shouldn't have the same problem as it did last time. Last time was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? The fact there's dramatic music going on kind of indicates something happened to me. Like, it plays into the whole loneliness, desolation, and also like everything is broken kind of thing. I don't know. I do wonder what happened to this world. I really do. This is definitely a bit of a mess. A bit of a mess is probably an understatement. I can't help it. I'm curious. Ah! Also, why is the random iron plate out here? I don't know. Okay. Last little supply drop is starting to roll in. We've got some actual proper green drills dropping in. We've got some productivity modules. So I actually ordered another 100 green drills because I didn't actually bring any. I kind of forgot to do that, so I actually sent the in-system one back for another trip. It did just fine, honestly. It does shoot through like 400 odd magazines of ammunition every time it goes, though. So, as long as it's got about 400 in stock, it should be fine either way. Still, let's jump that as well. So, got those productivity ready to set up mining operations over here on Fulgore. I've also got part of the assembly layout done. This is just like for dealing with ice. This side's going to be regular ice. This side's going to be quality ice. This side's going to be a regular ice, and then priority merging. So quality ice is melted and used first. The regular ice pump shuts off if it gets a bit too much. So, yep. Also a deletion recycler down here, which will be operating down there. Then move up to here. We've got ourselves what's going to be honestly a pretty decent refining system for the entire thing. The idea is that this section back here deals quality stuff, and then if there's a quality jam, this section here takes over, and this section will be productivity focused. So quality gets sorted out first, productivity comes afterwards. Did I forget to connect something in? I did forget to connect something in. What did I forget? I forgot... Oh, I forgot to bring up the feed line for the... Sorry. Yeah, I forgot to bring up the feed line. Slight whoopsie there. That'll do the job. Not quite so happy about that regarding this footpath, but that's okay, I'll sort that out. It'll just have to come on this side, that's basically all I can see happening. There we go. And then I'll just diagonal footpath and then move over. Okay. So, splitter setup. Ice, fuel, and whatever that is. Holmium ore gets bled off immediately, and it gets merged in with the stuff coming from base level as well, so all of that's getting jammed together, and for now it's just going to storage until I get processing facilities to use it going. I'm not going to flat out delete them because, well, I deleted them for a long time on my test game, and I found myself regretting it later on when I actually started to use them properly, so that's going to be sashing stuff for a while. Over here we have our split system going for the buses, so it pulls out the material I want, shifts it over towards the bus system, then it prioritizes putting it onto the actual bus itself, which comes out through here. But in the between there's a whole other tangle as well, which is if the bus is full, it goes into here, which starts acting as a storage chest. This is the overflow passive provider. It gets unloaded into this and then back into the bus. So this will act as a buffer chest to hold up like a lot of materials and things. And then from there it also gets fed into it. Sorry, passive provider is acts as the buffer, and then the buffer chest is for any exports, because this place is probably going to be producing extra materials for, and it'll be exporting here, there, and everywhere. Buffer chest is not exactly that important on the main thing, though it does mean there's some reserves kept aside for my personal use, or for things I tell to request from buffer chest as well. But this entire system bleeds off everything that can be made from the recycling, or by recycling the stuff that's made from recycling. So when we've got blue chips, that can be broken down into reds, can be broken down into greens. Plastic will be produced, and that's split over here. And then we just got the same thing over here, and this one is just sorting out everything else. Though actually, I think I will convert this and just to stash by rarity type, rather than try to make a proper bus out of it. That's probably a lot more sensible to do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Except for maybe some kinds that I want to have a feed of. I'll have to have a think on that, or if you guys have an opinion, let me know. But last thing for this episode, which I was hoping to be a bit more about being on an alien world, but it's wound up actually mostly being back on Norvis, and that is that this system is now ready to start. This will be the last scientific test of it. We've got the pumps set, water flow is good, except for the fact I've not actually plumbed in half of the entire network. Call me crazy, but that might be somewhat significant that I don't actually have half the network ready to roll, so get that plugged in and ready. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd system, this, but while you're at 88, I will merge you in as well. I was still concerned a bit about occasionally bots just wander off and die. See, this old base, I've cleared this base out several times and then it just gets refounded, so it's just like... Maybe I'll do what I did down here, which was this way. This one, there's some mega worms down here which were constantly shelling the mines near my wall, so they kept getting blown up. So I went in and pruned it by killing the mega worms in question, left the rest of it alone, and then it didn't really do anything. But, well, the pollution cloud, as you can see, is a lot worse than it used to be, because there's a lot more mining, and also the steam engine's going full tilt and stuff like that. So it's actually spread out a bit beyond my walls. Though I'm actually got in a position where my trains are sitting idly in the network, ready to be offloaded. So this is all doing okay for the most part. Apart from the fact that resources are slowly bleeding dry. So that's something I'm being constantly aware of. I'm slowly bleeding through my resources. Anyway, the other test is, can this setup cold start itself? It should be able to, because the reactors will be... Well, the reactors will be firing up, and they won't hit 550 degrees, which is where the fuel intake cuts off. Actually, hang on. I had a nasty thought. You are going to trigger, even though there's... Yeah. I need to rewire this a little bit. Hang on. Okay, there we go. That's probably how it should be. Individual reactor loaders will only trigger if their reactor is actually ready to accept more fuel. So the individual reactor has to be below the temperature, the steam pressure has to be low enough, and yeah, the temperature, there has to be no fuel, and there has to be very low steam pressure. Because if it was set up as it was, basically what would have been happening would be fuel being loaded and then snagged by this and put into here, and then because these ones were reading fuel empty, they'd be broadcasting through their combinators the signal, and then this would keep loading fuel into this reactor, and then this would keep grabbing it, and so no fuel gets up here, and the entire thing wouldn't work properly. So it wouldn't have been able to cold start by itself. Hopefully now it should be able to. Let's drop another save, shall we? And then let's see if this works. Reactor, give me power, please. Okay, good. That is pausing. That's stopping as soon as there's one in the chest. And then that's reacting. And then there is one left loose on the belt, which will act as the control, stopping more from being loaded from the main bus for the fuel. All reactors are thrumming away nicely, building temperature. Okay, these guys are much, much closer than they used to be. I think... Is conductivity better because these things are registering like from multiple sources that will be heating up versus these ones which are a single. I don't really know, but this is already, remember it was going at like 0.0 something of degrees out here before when this was the thing and the reactor was all the way down here, but now it's actually able to operate, and we already know that the 550 degrees is fine for the fuel loading because it will sort itself out. You're 450, you're at 450. Yeah, so reactor temperature is pretty darn even, so they will simultaneously load anyway, or just about. That was the purpose of wiring them all in together, honestly. But as I said, it wouldn't have allowed it to actually cold start. So that's a slight thing there. Oh good, you're here. You've unloaded a couple of stacks of fuel rods, that's okay. This is already looking a lot more promising. Temperature is climbing along the actual access route here. Though, will this actually transmit enough for the heat getting up here? This is like 20 heat exchangers in a single bank. That might be a bit inefficient. Might not actually reach them all. But that just means that the reactor temperature will just spike higher and then not offload as quickly. So, slight inefficiency there, I suppose. I do think temperature is dissipating better because it is not actually climbing as rapidly as it was before. Actually, no, wait, no. I tell a lie, because the last time I was watching it so very nervously was when it had done its first refuel. I'm just watching this thing slowly heat up. That's it though. Temperature's almost over here now. So it won't be long. There goes depleted fuel. Very good. Okay. Now the reactor will start to cool off a little bit. It's dropping, it's dropping, it's dropping. It's gonna hit the magic number very soon, which will trigger the refueling process. They are within a degree of each other, actually. Oh, there goes Sue. And then it's failed to load. Okay. In that case, let's... That is a lesson there. That to cold load it, we need to break them up, but now it's failed to properly refuel due to uneven heat draw. So I need to reconnect once everything's loaded. So I'll just string them together on the actual combinator outputs, and then that'll let me, when I want to actually get this working and cold start one, disconnect it, off we go, and then once the initial fuel rods are in, reconnect, and it's good to go. I don't know. Part of me feels a bit disappointed that I've had to do that. But there's not much I can do except for wait for this guy to burn through the fuel rods. Though without the other reactors, temperature over here is not really climbing very quickly anymore. Actually, do these guys have passive heat loss? Doesn't say. Okay, just because it's not going to get there, I'm going to brute force the fueling. So there we go. Forcibly load it. Drop that back down to the 550. Oh, because I didn't actually have it stringing both sides, I need to brute force this side as well. I guess 650? Let's say 700. And then reinstall the long-range connection. Aha! Achievement just popped. Nuclear power. Turbines are starting to spin up. Excellent. Okay, we actually got it. Yeah, that's my first nuclear reactor. The fact that the achievement popped tells you I wasn't joking. This is literally the first time I've done this. There we go. And then if I want to break it up, I can just like sever that link there and it'll be fine. Because this red network is separate from the input red network, which is where it's reading the steam level from. So 59, 60, we are way short of the target pressure of 5,000. So, actually that's a question. Why is it... We are producing 400 odd kilowatts. We're barely making anything. I think it's because these things aren't properly firing yet. That is somewhat concerning. The reactors on the far end of the stack are reading at over 1,000 degrees. Maybe what I should do is get some heat pipes around here, and that can act as a bleed to pull heat out of this end as well. They'll all get red hot around here, but the entire area is marked with hazard for a reason. Oh, that side just actually tapered off. Okay, right, temperature is now dropping. Yeah, the uneven fueling process seems to have been a partial cause for that. We are absolutely chock full of steam, so the heat's not really got much of anywhere to go. There goes another couple of reactors. These two are just maintaining the temperature because they are... Yeah, because these two are maintaining the temperature because they are the ones that got an accidental extra fuel rod jammed in when they had a bit of fuel left in. But they're about to tap out as well. There goes the fuel. Okay, you're good. You're off. Good. Pipe is at 800 odd degrees and dropping. 700, 600, 600. Okay, this is good. This is good. Everything is working now. Apart from the fact that the turbines are not feeding power. They are on the power network. Tell you that for a fact because everything's connected into the logistics network. It's all working, but it is currently being... Yeah, it's ranked ahead of the steam engine, but they don't seem to be making... Interesting, why aren't you making power? I mean, you're all hooked in. I know I've not got you guys backwards. That's impossible. You guys work either way. You can't be backwards, so why aren't you doing anything? Yeah, okay, right. I figured it out. Turns out it's because I had my settings like an hour on the graph sheets, so because nuclear power was so new, it was just not there yet. So, you know, kind of silly after that. Figured out if I severed a connection. But, yeah. Steam engine's back in the network. Nuclear power is prioritized. Also, as you can see, I am adding more turbines. I didn't actually have enough for my steam production rates. That's part of the reason why the steam pressure skyrocketed so quickly. So it should be 1.7 to 1, roughly. And these are stacks of 20, so that is 17, that is 34, and that's 34, 36 is what I've built in each thing, so this will keep it nice and going. Slightly above what these things can do, but not massively so. See, I've had to move a, well, I've had to schedule that. You guys get out of there, please. Go away. Thank you. There. Now, the problem is I don't know how to tell bots to leave a robot and just go somewhere else. So that's probably going to cause a lot of bots in the production site, but that is why there's that drawdown chest there anyway. It's all glowing, this is all going okay. This is currently idling at like 700 odd degrees, while all of this is quite happily sitting at about 640. So yeah, once we got the entire bank heated up, it started working okay. Wasn't exactly a smooth switch on. It did take a few false starts and a few tinkerings. I'm going to have to redo the concrete foundations for the turbine section, sadly, but you know, alas, we must suffer for the art of concrete. Ugh. But that's not too bad. That's not too bad. But we have nuclear power. We have been to space. We have been to Fulgora. I'll get the recycling system built and get Fulgora started, and then next time we will probably be making our way to Vulcanus. And we'll see what we will see when we get there. But yeah, until then, this has been IMR3. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps out me, helps the channel, gives me those virtual headbutts I oh so crave. And I'll catch you all some other time. I do wonder though, since this thing is sitting around 700 degrees and I jam fuel into it at 550 degrees, does that mean that I am actually... Well, if I just flat out I don't need the power right now, in all honesty. Because the solar is covering the base for the most part right now, but when research kicks in, actually I should kick in a research. I should stress test it, just a tad. Utility. Yeah, let's fire up utility research or mining productivity. I've not even got the first one of that yet, but those are kind of pricey. Let's get research speed up. Fire up the research labs, which I have realised I've not actually got inserters in, so I've not put modules into. I'll rebuild this off camera as well to take into account spoiled food. Anyway, that should have caused a massive jump in power. Not massively over the last hour, but in the last 10 minutes... No, my biggest draws are still the roboports and the things. Yeah, I guess the factory just isn't that power hungry, honestly. It's still operating on like some reserves. Like these guys are now ticking along full tilt. I've not moduled these up yet either. But I could definitely expand research. I could get this all ticking along a bit faster. Military research is honestly... Well, it's the same old complaint, isn't it? Military research doesn't actually do much. Oh, I just got faster research speed. And apparently that's now maxed out. You know what? Give me a mining productivity. Give me mining productivity to 50%. Make my stuff last longer. I dare you. Hey, you're starting to see some of the things. The furnaces are coming up, the assemblers. This is where I started research, and then it's just like going to... It's climbing, it's climbing, it's climbing. Still not as high as when there's a massive construction project using the drones. When the drones are doing a lot of stuff, that's when it spikes up to like 600 odd megawatts and stuff. But I don't have any large concrete... Actually, no, I do have some large concrete I can be doing. I can be... Not that one. Not this one, because this one is defective. I could lay it in just for reasons, I suppose, but let's get this one. Which goes like that. Call on the bots. I want brick going in along here. Call on the bots. Should I just lay that in just to get the bots doing something? I guess. Yeah, I mean I can just lay over it again once I've actually got the new pattern sorted out. No, not that one. That one. There it is. Tell you though, this one's actually a bit of a pain to lay in the dark because it's not immediately obvious. The only guiding thing about placing it correctly is that there's actually concrete rather than reinforced concrete in this gap in the middle here, and with the power grid overlay from the power systems either side, it's kind of hidden, especially at night time. This one is not that clear. Trying to line it up, I kind of... Maybe I should add some more hazard markings into this thing just to make it a bit more obvious when I'm trying to place it, stuff like that. It would be a good idea if I'm planning to make more of these. But anyway, bots are flying around. This is now 690. This is still holding at 600. I have a nuclear reactor. It's I'm puzzled why the steam engine is still doing stuff though. Turbine power is climbing though. Yeah, I don't know why the steam engines have got draw on them. I can actually scrap the steam engines now if this is working. Ah, look at that. Isn't that glorious? My base has nuclear power. It's a bit iffy, I'm not 100% satisfied with it, but I've got nuclear power. Huzzah! I was hoping to get another refueling cycle, but it's actually been really slow dropping to the 550 target mark to refuel it. Again, does that mean I've not got enough of these guys operating on it? Is that what that means? Let me know. I mean, these are about to tap out due to lack of heat. Should I be running them hotter? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, see you all later. That was just me waiting for things to happen. Not the best outro bit there. So I will install some of these to see if that can help a little bit with heat bleed off. And just one last little snippet because it does look kind of cool. Yeah, I put down the roboports and got the construction bots working full auto, building the recycling centre over here in Fulgora. And as you can see, stuff is raining down from the heavens. Yeah, this is kind of what I had in mind when I decided to put orbital manufacturing capability on the Wayfarer that's in orbit. So this is currently ordering down pipes and belts and things, just metal parts that currently is manufactured on the actual spacecraft itself, just to help it put together everything. So I don't have to do it all by hand. Though the fact is we also need a storage chest as well, just to... Because a few things had to be torn apart, and so we need somewhere to actually do that. Let's put a couple of storage chests down next to that. As another rocket comes out. I really do appreciate the fact that this is free. Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe there should be a propellant cost for sending something down from orbit. I think that wouldn't be too bad, was it? Let's get those put down. There we go. But yeah, I thought the last post thing was long, so I was like, you know, let's actually go ahead and check this guy out. But this guy is just steadily manufacturing as best he can and launching individual bits and pieces because it just doesn't cost anything. I wouldn't mind having to pay like a propellant cost of some kind to send stuff from orbit. Just the fact the pods themselves are free is very nice. But you know, maybe I'll find a mod for that. In nuclear news, by the by, the plant is ticking over just fine. I still kind of feel like I don't have enough heat exchangers. Either that or the demand just isn't consistent enough to warrant more, but we can see it's a battle between solar and nuclear. Whenever solar is available, nuclear stagnates, and then during the night times, the nuclear takes over. Steam engine is not really getting a look in, honestly. It's just like, it exists. It's producing a few megawatts, but that's it. I think that's just to keep the inserters online for the boilers, honestly. So that might be it. Though actually no, it wouldn't be reading that because it's on a different network. I don't know. Anyway, installing the actually heat exchange routes seems to have helped even out temperature flow a little bit better for the reactor, but it's still doing just fine. It's not being pushed anywhere near its limits though, so I think I could double my current number of exchanges without any kind of issue. In fact, I probably will. But yeah, just those last little limit, because rockets are coming to Fulgora. And they look nice.